George thought he was marrying the woman of his dreams, until he discovered she had attended funerals for people born 2 centuries before him. Some love stories begin with a first kiss. This one began with a secret older than nations. On a rainy evening in a small country located at the western part of Africa, George first saw Ivy. She sat beneath a flickering streetlight, dressed in white, while rain seemed to part around her. Her beauty was impossible to ignore: smooth dark skin, calm posture, and eyes that looked as though they had witnessed entire generations rise and fall. Beside her sat an unusual companion, a magnificent giant tortoise named Lulu, its ancient shell glistening in the rain. Ivy gently rested one hand on its back, as if comforting an old friend. George slowed. Most people would have kept walking. George wasn't most people. "Need help?" he asked, noticing her stalled car. She looked up and smiled, a smile both warm and strangely melancholy. "I've been waiting for someone kind enough to ask." It was an odd thing to say. But George was too captivated to question it. He helped restart her car, and before leaving, she handed him a simple ivory card. It contained only one word: Ivy. No phone number. No address. Just her name. For days, George couldn't stop thinking about her. Then fate, or something very much like it, brought them together again in a quiet old bookstore hidden between busy streets. They happily exchanged pleasantries like old-times friends. As days rolled into weeks, their relationship grew from mere acquaintances to friendship, ordinary, yet amusing. An unusual bond. Their conversations flowed effortlessly. Ivy was brilliant, mysterious, and endlessly curious. She found delight in ordinary things: candle flames, handwritten letters, children's laughter, and the scent of a flower garden. It was as if the world still amazed her. George fell in love. Perhaps too quickly. There were peculiar things about Ivy. She never discussed her family. She refused photographs. She avoided hospitals. Then there was Lulu. The giant tortoise had been with her for longer than George could imagine. "Lulu has outlived every dog I've ever known," George once joked. Ivy smiled softly. "So have I." When George laughed, Ivy didn't. She rather keep a straight face and stared at nothing in particular. "If I told you my real age," she whispered, "you would run." George kissed her hand. "I doubt that." He had no idea. Few months later, George proposed. Ivy accepted, but only after making him promise one thing. "No matter what you discover about me, promise you won't leave immediately." George agreed without hesitation. Love can make brave men careless. At their wedding reception, an elderly woman named Pen froze the moment she saw Ivy. "No," she whispered. From her purse, she pulled out a faded black and white photograph taken in the 1940s. Ivy was her close friend back in the days but suddenly disappeared without trace. She had kept her friend's photo with her since then. George's breath caught. Poised in an old worn-out picture was his now wedded wife, Ivy. Not older. Not younger. Exactly the same. Ivy bent her head, caught off guard and not knowing what to say as tears rolled down her pretty face. That night, following their wedding, she knew it was moment of truth. Ivy finally told her husband everything. She loved this man and would rather let him know the truth about her identity than start a new life of lies with him. She had been born in the year 1919. And her real name is Zara Hakuna. At 16, a mysterious fever swept through her village, attacking mostly children and teenagers, snapping their young lives out of them. Her parents had already died years earlier during a cholera outbreak, leaving her to be raised by her grandmother. When the fever struck, everyone believed she would die too. Then an old wandering healer arrived. She offered her a strange shimmering potion, warning that it would save her life, but at a terrible cost. Desperate, her grandmother agreed. Zara, now Ivy, survived. A few days later the healer stopped by and offered Ivy an ancient tortoise. "This will keep you company, don't lose sight of it," the healer said firmly. Day after day Ivy became healthier, now completely healed from the strange illness that almost took her life. But time stopped touching her. At first, it seemed like a miracle. Then the years passed. Her grandmother aged. Friends grew old. Lovers withered. Children became elderly. And Ivy remained 16 forever, until, over decades, her body slowly matured into the woman George knew, then simply stopped. She learned to move often. To never stay too long. To watch, to leave, to begin again. Lulu, gifted to her by the healer herself, became her constant companion through centuries of loneliness. "I stopped counting the years," she confessed, tears shining in her eyes. "But I never stopped hoping to find someone who would stay." George sat in stunned silence. He was terrified. But he was also in love. And love, real love, is often a decision before it is a feeling. Taking Ivy's hands into his, he said softly, "Listen to me, my darling wife, I love you right from the moment I set my eyes on you. I promise I would never leave your side no matter what I see or heard." So he stayed. The years rolled by. George's hair turned gray. Lines creased his once youthful face. Ivy remained unchanged. People often mistook her for his daughter, and the love birds would laugh till tears fell from their eyes. When George became old and frail, Ivy cared for him with the same tenderness she had shown him the day they met. On his final night, as Ivy held his hand. "After all these years," he whispered, smiling weakly, "you still chose me." Ivy kissed his forehead. "In every lifetime, I would," she said softly. George took out a beautiful silver locket and gave it to his wife. "This precious gift was given to me by my mother, I want you to keep it," he said smiling. "It's truly beautiful, I will wear it next to my heart," Ivy said. George passed peacefully before dawn. Ivy wept bitterly. But, for the first time in centuries, she did not fear being left behind. Because George had given her something immortality never could. A love worth remembering. And she finally understood. Life is not measured by how long we live, but by how deeply we love. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more beautiful stories.